Yeah.
All right, we're live here. The C2 podcast Bracketology. We got this whole bracket all filled out here, and we're about to go through every game, maybe explain briefly our reasoning behind who we're picking, and just kind of go through and do some bracketology. So, without further ado, my co-host Cole fixing the tape. Let's get into it.
All right. First off, pretty self-explainable. 16 seed never beats the 1 seed unless you're Virginia. So,
Yeah.
Next up, Maryland, West Virginia. Should be a pretty good game. We've talked about this a little bit. 8-9 matchups are always tough. 11 out of the 16 9 seeds in the past 4 years have won. So it's a very interesting stat. 9 seed actually has been better, but we don't feel that West Virginia is as strong. We really, personally, I don't think West Virginia should have gotten the tournament. So we're going Maryland. Next up, San Diego State, College of Charleston. Everybody's really high on College of Charleston.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are picking them as an upset just because it's like the 12-5 narrative as well. They had obviously really good record for the conference they're playing in, conference champions over UNCW. But
what people don't know is San Diego State is 27-6. Nobody really paid attention to their conference, and San Diego State is always in the conversation in the NCAA tournament. So for that reason, we're not going to go down the upset path. Instead, we're going to take San Diego State.
I feel like it's too obvious. I think with this one, it's a little bit too obvious to pick Charleston here.
Next up, Virginia Furman. Virginia, been pretty good lately. Lost to Duke in the ACC title game. Furman's a good team. NC State played them earlier in the year, beat them. But Furman's definitely capable of beating Virginia, but we just don't see it getting done.
Yeah, Virginia's a strong team. Really good defense. Their offense can be pretty slow at times, but I think that they'll take care of Furman.
Next up, this one's tough on the heart.
This one hits close to home here, and we did debate this one for a while.
Oh, jeez. We're losing the bracket.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got all messed up.
You're good. You're good right there. Go ahead and put it
I
on.
know.
Oh, it just takes like lost its stickiness.
Let me grab some more.
Get another piece real quick.
I don't know where we put it.
I put it back in my bag. No, in my golf bag. Where it was before, and then we're gonna put it on.
In here?
Yeah. Unedited live video here. Dude, and how did this come on? You turn the fan off.
Yeah, I'm about to go turn it.
Oh no, what is going on? It's like the wall lost all the stickiness over here.
Alright, well,
We're just gonna have to. What's going on?
alright, that's good. That's not going anywhere. Let it go. Alright. Back to it.
It is definitely going somewhere, dude. Oh, did you turn it off?
Yeah, I did. Alright. Creighton, NC State. Back to what we were talking about. Tough one. Oh, no.
Alright, dude, we'll just do this for now.
Alright. Tough one. Gonna be an interesting matchup. NC State always gives people a run for their money, always plays up to the competition, but people don't understand Creighton's really good.
There's some dogs. There's some dogs.
Creighton's gonna move on this one. As hard as it is to say.
And NC State definitely could win this game. I mean, they're more than capable, but just
Another thing for me personally, the loss of Greg Gant, huge.
Yeah.
I think he's a big part of
great
our
defensiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Baylor, UC Santa Barbara, definitely a possibility for an upset. If you were one to pick upsets, this could be one to pick. UC Santa Barbara can really score the ball, but we're going to get a rock chalk. Go Baylor. Next up, Missouri, Utah State. As you can see, we've gone chalk through here. everything what it should be. This is going to be our first upset here in our bracketology segment. Utah State can really shoot the ball. Missouri, not great defensively. Going to be an interesting matchup.
And there's nothing you can do. I mean, if the other team's shooting the ball well, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Next up, Princeton, Arizona. Arizona's going to get it done. All right, and we're going to go section by section. So we'll go ahead and round this section out. Alabama, Maryland. Should be a pretty good game. Maryland's a tough squad, but Bama's looked really good. We're going Bama. Next up, San Diego State, Virginia. Once again, should be a pretty good game. This one we had a tough time deciding on. Going to be really interesting to see. It's just a matter of can Virginia score the ball. Should be interesting. I always am pretty high on San Diego State, but I'm going to go ACC here. I'm going to go Virginia.
I think Virginia, just with how well they're coached as well, I think they're going to be able to win a couple games there.
Yeah, I agree.
Despite their offensive struggles.
Next up, Creighton, Baylor. Once again, we already mentioned this. We think Creighton's really strong. We discussed this before we got on here. I think Creighton's going to pull this off.
This could all go down the toilet if NC State comes out hot.
Which is a great possibility.
Oh, it could happen, but at least we'd be happy if
Yeah.
NC State wins. So
Next up, Utah State, Arizona. We got Arizona. Moving back up to the top, Bama, Virginia. You got the 1 and 4 seed. I just don't think the Virginia defense can handle the offensive superpower from Bama. So for that reason, we're going Bama. Then you get Creighton, Arizona. This one's another interesting one. Creighton's tough. We mentioned that already. But I like Arizona a lot. They got a good team, good coach. One of the best players in the nation. Going Arizona. And lastly, to go to the Final Four. We talked about this. This was one of the toughest, if not the toughest region to decide here between your 1 and 2 seed. But we personally just don't think Bama can get it done. Personally, don't think Bama is going to be able to get over the hump of everything going on down there in Bama.
a lot of stuff going on off the court out there.
So we're going to Arizona.
A lot of distractions which sometimes that can propel a team to do great things.
Yeah.
You know, just
Which I think that's what it's done
Unity
so
of-
far,
yeah.
SEC title and all that.
Yeah.
But NCAA is a whole new beast.
yeah.
Next up down here, we're going Purdue once again, 1 seed over the 16 seed. Then you got Memphis, Florida Atlantic. I don't really understand how Florida Atlantic got a 9 seed, but they
Memphis
did.
can ball.
Yeah,
Memphis
we
can
like
ball.
Memphis a lot.
As we might find out here
They
in
just
about a
beat
minute.
Houston. Duke, Oral Roberts. A lot of people are picking Oral Roberts over Duke, but obviously they didn't watch the ACC title and ACC tournament. Duke's coming
Duke-
on right when they should.
Yeah, I mean, they're a young team, and they're playing really good when it matters, you know, coming into the beginning of March. So, with how their players have been developing over the year, again, they're a super young team, but I think they're getting their confidence and hitting their stride. So, I don't see this being one of the upsets that happens here.
Down here, Tennessee. Right here, Kentucky Province. Should be an interesting game. This was one we had a tough time with.
Yep.
A lot of people like Providence in this game, but once again, it's Kentucky, a blue blood. But we're going to roll with what a lot of people like, and we're going to roll Providence.
Yes,
It's a little
sir.
upset.
Just historically over this season, Kentucky has won some good games, notably Tennessee recently, but Kentucky has lost a couple bad losses
Lost to Vanderbilt twice at the end of the season.
to some not so great teams. So they're capable of losing games like this, and I think that's what's going to happen here.
Here, Kansas State, Montana State. Kansas State's a really good team. I like KSU. Michigan State, Southern Cal should be a good 7-10 game. 7-10 games are always pretty good, but we got USC. Next up, Marquette, Vermont. Should be another interesting game. Vermont always is a good team and gives the bigger teams run for their money, but we like Marquette a lot in this bottom half of the portion of the bracket. All right, moving here. This is going to surprise some people.
Yep.
But we like Memphis over Purdue. Purdue's a good team, but they have a tendency to lose games that they shouldn't. I like Zach Edey a lot. I mean, it's tough to beat a guy who's 7'3", 7'4", best player in the nation, most will say. But
they rely heavily on him.
yeah.
And this could be
Penny Hardaway's going to get them boys in Memphis right. They just beat Houston. They're going to get on a roll, beat Purdue.
Heard it here.
Right here, got Duke over Tennessee. Once again, we already discussed this. Duke's on a roll. Like Duke a lot. I like John Shire a lot. I think he's going to do a great job there following up Coach K.
Filipowski.
Yeah, Filipowski's
He's
the man. Down here, KSU, Providence, Kansas State should move on easily in that one. Once again, Kansas State's a really good team. And down here, Marquette. So, a little more interesting than this one up here. You got the 8 seed, the 5 seed in the top half. Then you got chalk in the bottom, so you got the 3 and the 2. We'll go with this right here first. Marquette. We like Marquette a lot. They looked really good in the Big East tournament. And for that reason, we have them moving on. And then Duke, Memphis. Once again, this all depends on if Memphis can get there, if Duke can get there. They got some tough games. But if this game were to happen, we're rolling Duke to the Elite Eight. And then the Final Four, which I think if this game were to happen, it would be one of the best Elite Eight games of all time. I like Marquette a lot. I like Duke a lot. This one we had a tough decision on. It's just a matter of who you really think is going to be rolling at the right time when they get to this point.
That's the Blue Devils.
Yep.
That's the Blue Devils.
We like Duke a lot. Think they're on a roll. I think John Shire's going to surprise a lot of people. We're rolling Duke. And one thing I do want to say is Duke is always a 1 or 2 seed, and they always struggle. And people are like, well, they have a chip on their shoulder this year being a 5 seed.
Yep.
It's going to be a little
A
different.
little bit of a different environment for them this year.
So it's going to be a little more interesting.
Maybe your tape's falling down over there too, man. I'm only gonna.
Here. Is it not sticking at all?
Nah, dude, like it literally just like die. Let's see if we can go out to the Alright, we'll see how long that lasts. Well, can you see that? Can you see it? Like, it's in the frame, right?
No, yeah, you're good. I was just double check. All right.
Let's get it.
All right, moving on to Carter's half of the bracket.
My half. I guess something like that. This one here, like, pretty self-explanatory. 1 over the 16 seed. We got Houston. I know I'm gonna spell one of these wrong. Moving down to this one, I think, through our discussion, we believe that this is going to be one of the tightest, best games in the first round of the tournament. But all that being said, going with Iowa, right?
Yep.
Going with Iowa out of this one. Which again, we're kind of going against the statistics that we presented earlier, how 11 out of the 16 games out of the last 4 years, the 9's beating the 8. But I think this year it's kind of cut and dry with 8 and 9s, that the 8s just are that much better, that it's easier for them to say they're going to win.
That, and I like just the matchups this year, like you said. I mean, it's not completely cut and dry, but I don't know. Auburn scares me. They've been struggling as of late. They started the season like 15-4, and now they're like 20-12 or something like that. I don't like I said, I don't understand how Florida Atlantic's a 9 seed. Maybe they'll surprise me. It's very possible, but
Oh, it's always possible in
yeah,
March.
Yeah,
it's
so
always possible.
I don't know, but I like the 8 seeds a lot.
And then moving on to another 5-12 that people always like to pick these upsets, but this time around we thought about it. We really thought about taking Drake in this one, but Miami, they got their big guy hurt, And there's reasons why you could pick Drake here, but Miami's still a really solid team.
Isaiah Wong's ACC Player of the Year.
I mean, he's a special player. And, I mean, even with injuries, they've still played a couple good games, so we still got Miami moving forward in this one. And then moving down here,
That was another one we struggled with.
Yeah, Indiana and Kent State here, 4-13.
Kent State is a lot better than people know. Lost to Gonzaga by 7. Lost to somebody else by, I think, maybe San Diego State by 2, something like that. They've lost to some really good teams by not a lot. So that was a tough one.
But we're still going to go with Indiana. All right, moving on down here, Iowa State versus Pitt. Pitt's looked pretty strong, got the playing game, but
a lot of people didn't think Pitt should be in, especially
No.
over Clemson.
Especially over Clemson, which I don't know. I mean, we talked about
Clemson
this,
just lost in the UIT.
but I mean, Clemson definitely deserved a spot in this tournament, and I mean, that's coming from an NC State fan. I mean, they whooped up on us 3 times this year, and we're still in this bracket over here, and they're not. So
Well, they lost tonight, so.
that's true. Maybe it was maybe that's a sign. But anyway, we're still going to go with Iowa State here.
Yeah. Iowa State, I like them a lot, especially in the Big 12, tough conference.
Moving on down here, we talked about this one too a little bit, potential for an upset, but Xavier, they're just a strong team. So 3-14, a 3 seed. Xavier, we got them moving on in that game. And then moving down here, seems to be the theme of our bracket this year, the 10 over the 7 teams. We took that one over there. Actually, we took both on that side. And statistically speaking, a lot of people like to take the 12s over the 5s, but I mean, more often than not, the majority of the upsets you see are the 10 over the 7, which makes sense logically. They're the closest in seeding, considering 8 and 9s don't count for upsets if the 9 beats the 8. But yeah, we're going to take Penn State in this one. They're hitting their stride at the right time. It could be a pretty close game, but I mean,
both were in their conference title game, so it's going to be a big
right. And I mean, when you're looking at the first round here, on average, you're seeing about 6 upsets over the last 30 seasons or so, according to our research. So you kind of just got to pick and choose. It's probably going to be somewhere between 4 and 8 in the first round. Moving on down, it kind of decreased a little bit, but you just got to pick, because you never know what's going to happen in March. There's going to be upsets, and it seems like a pretty good one to choose here, getting Penn State in this game. And then moving on down here, a lot of people have said Colgate.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
And people look at them every year as a team that could upset, but we think Texas is a very strong team.
I couldn't believe they gave Colgate a 15 seed. I mean, I thought Colgate could be a 14, maybe even a 13. I think someone like Kennesaw State should be more like a 15.
Right, because you flip Colgate into this game here or something like that, all of a sudden you could see, maybe a lot more people putting them in past the first
Colgate
round.
was up there in that 13 against Indiana. I would take Colgate all day. So it's just very interesting that they
A
gave.
really strong 2 seed in Texas. Where's the red one go?
Oh, you're not going to finish that up?
Oh, yeah. Forgot we did. All right, so that takes care of the first round here for this portion of the bracket. And moving on here, we're going with what I think we're going with.
We're going with the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, we're going with the Hawkeyes. We got another 8 over the 1 seed. The 8 and 9 seeds beat the 1 seeds. Actually, when you look at second round upsets, it happens fairly often. I mean, Houston, they're definitely a team that could lose a game like this, and Iowa's definitely a team that could win a game like this. And so moving on here, we got another 1 seed losing early, and we got Iowa moving on from that game. Then coming from down here, I think we're saying we're going with Miami, right?
Yeah, we struggled with this one.
It's tough. It's tough to say.
I think I'm gonna flip it. I think we should go
Game time
Indiana.
decision.
Yeah.
This is a game time decision. We go off the script here
I
sometimes.
think we should go Indiana, strictly because, especially if Miami
That's
doesn't
a
get their
reason.
big guy back, Indiana plays through their big men.
So
So
they could get a real advantage down low from that.
Trace Jackson Davis, one of the best players in the nation. I think we should go Indiana there.
And for some reason, Drake ends up upsetting. This could still save us here moving on, because I see that happening before the Kent State upset. We're going for a perfect bracket here, not to handicap ourselves, but come on, we still want a good bracket if it's not perfect. All right, moving on down here, we got Iowa State Xavier in this game. I think we're going with Xavier. I mean, you got to. They're the 3 seed again.
Just look good lately.
No other
Lost to
reasoning.
Marquette,
Yeah, no other reason besides they're a strong team here. Nothing to take away from Iowa State, but just looking at the odds, looking at that squad, they look like they could make it past that game. And then coming down here, Penn State, Texas. We had Penn State in the upset in the first round. That's where their season's going to end right there when they run into the Longhorns, because I think we're pretty high on Texas here. I mean, they're just really solid
You
team.
can go ahead and write them in to the Elite Eight if you want,
While we're on it.
and then you can go ahead and put them in the Final Four if you want.
Woo, baby! Might as well.
Hook 'em.
Might as well. We're high on this team here. Doesn't
Big
matter
Ten.
what happens here.
Big Ten matchup up there. Iowa's already beat Indiana. That's another tough one. Not putting Miami in that spot makes it more interesting because really I would have taken Miami over Iowa. But I don't see Iowa beating Indiana again. Here we go ahead and put
For the
Indiana.
2-time. I don't think it happens either. Indiana, Texas. Texas moving into the Final Four. Right now we got a 2 seed, and a 5 seed.
One interesting fact that I want to go ahead and point out before I forget. One reason that we have Texas in, and one reason that we believe Texas is going to make a move through this bracket, was if you look at the statistics in the last, I think since 2003, no team east,
No, you had it right.
no team west
Yeah.
of Texas
Right.
has ever won a national championship since 2003. There's only every year in week 6, the team who wins the national championship's in the top 12.
Yep.
And then there was 2 other things that were really interesting.
That have factored into our decisions.
Yeah, but there was 5 teams that could win the national championship this year, and the statistics really do show that this is true. It's
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's hit every year.
Over many seasons.
Over
a large
20
sample size.
seasons. Yeah, over 20 seasons. So, and I think teams that were included in that was Texas, Kansas, Houston, Creighton, and Creighton wasn't included in the national champion because they're west of that line.
Right.
But it was Texas, Kansas, Houston,
UConn
UConn was in there, and then there's somebody over
and
here.
Kansas.
I already said them.
Okay.
There's somebody over here.
Yeah, I think it was Alabama.
Yeah, it was Bama.
It was
Those were
Bama.
in 5.
According to these statistics over the last 20 years, it is a little bit of a randomness to about week 6, top 12, something like that. But the stats don't lie,
100%.
and the other things do make a little bit more sense. I don't know. I guess there's some about the teams in the East here, but geographically in the East, not necessarily with the bracket here. But yeah, so that narrowed it down to about 5 teams, which some of that is reflected in our bracket here. Because, obviously any of that's subject to change with, certain teams, certain seasons. It's never a guarantee, but certainly statistics can really help you when you're trying to make tough decisions here in a bracket where you can see any team winning. Moving on down, again, 1 in the 16 seed. Self-explanatory. We got Kansas here. 8 and 9, again, another one of those 8 and 9 games that we could really see going either way. But I think this one we felt a little bit more confident about here with Arkansas winning this game even as the 8 seed. The SEC is really strong this year in basketball. I think we're going to see that reflected here in this game. Kansas.
Something about their coach too. I like their coach a lot. He used to coach at Nevada, had those guys playing strong, and now he's got Arkansas.
Moving down here to the last 5-12 game. It wouldn't be a complete bracket without a 12 over a 5 upset, I feel like.
We've said we weren't
Yeah.
completely into those this year, but we do have one here.
We got
St. Mary's is strong, but I don't think they're strong enough. Brandon Johns and the guys from Virginia, Commonwealth.
Moving on down to the 4-13 in the bottom right here, we got UConn and Iona. This is another one that's kind of, you just take the strong team in UConn. I think a lot of analysts have UConn going all the way to the Elite 8, Final Four, even the championship. Jay Billis has got them winning it, the whole thing.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing. Iona is definitely someone to watch out for. Rick Pitino is their coach. He used to coach at Louisville, a national champion, so definitely something to look out for. But I think UConn's going to take care of business
Moving on down, 6-11. We got the 11 playing game happening right now. I don't know if it's over or what the score is. We had to unplug it from the TV here, but it's not going to factor into our decision here, even if the outcome has been decided. I think Arizona State was winning at the time that we last checked it, I believe.
Yeah.
But TCU is a strong team, and we like their chances no matter who wins that playing game here. So got a lot of acronyms going through this bottom side of the bracket here. UConn, TCU, VCU. Moving on down, Grand Canyon, Gonzaga.
Zags underrated this year. One of the only years you can ever say that.
Oh no. Yeah, normally they're coming in here as a 1 seed.
Yeah.
Why is it only this corner, dude? It's just like, it just doesn't understand. This is like a second grader art project where they just keep using more and more and more tape when it's not working. Don't look for a different solution, just look for more tape.
Alright, here, just hustle up. We'll get through it real quick and then we'll be done.
Okay. Northwestern, Boise State.
We said Northwestern. No, that's what I thought. And then UCLA down below that.
Western.
Hard to not represent UNC Asheville.
Oh, I know.
North Carolina. Alright, back
It
to
is
the
what
top.
it is, though.
Kansas and Arkansas.
Who's got better? Kansas?
Rock
There's
Chalk
Kansas.
Jayhawks. Kansas is tough. They look good. Bill Self, hopefully he's okay. He was
They're always
hospitalized.
Yep, absolutely.
St. Mary's. Oh wait, we already went there. VCU, UConn. We like UConn. As we mentioned those statistics, we like UConn to move on there.
Two of those teams, UConn, Kansas, out of the
Both
ones
were
that
in
said
those
their
five.
potential for the national champions.
That's gonna be, if this happens, that's gonna be a really good game.
Yeah, it is. When it happens, you mean?
Yeah.
Moving
TCU,
on.
Zags.
Yeah.
Once again, underrated Gonzaga. Zags move on. UCLA, Northwestern. We like UCLA. Now, this is a rematch of the national championship a few years ago when Jalen Suggs hit the buzzer beater to beat UCLA. Or maybe that was a Final Four game. I think it was Final Four actually.
Either way.
Yeah, either way.
Point
that was a great
stands.
game. So moving on there though, I like the Zags once again underrated. Drew Timme. Carter agreed with me earlier.
Yes. I did.
I'll let Carter talk about this next game.
Then we got this next one here, Kansas, UConn, two of the teams that statistically could be the national champion according to our sources. This could be a really good game. A lot of people have got this game happening in the Sweet 16, and they've got actually UConn winning, but, you know, we think, again, it's self-explanatory. Kansas is a very strong team, and we got them winning this game moving on. Coming down here, we got the 1 versus 3, Kansas, Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. Let's just see, Kansas. I think we might want to put Kansas there. That's all.
The
I have to say
reigning
about
national
that.
champion gets back to the Final Four.
And we're here to the Final Four. We've got the 1 seed
Give me
Kansas.
that blue pen.
We've got the 2 seed Texas. Did you just foreshadow what we're gonna do here with that blue pen, Cole? I don't know. And we got the 2 seed Texas coming out of here. We got the 2 seed Arizona coming out of here.
5 seed.
And the 5 seed Blue Devils coming out here to the Final Four. I mean,
All
just
right.
looking at this could be a Final Four.
Oh yeah, no, these are
Realistically-
Final Four teams.
Realistically, these teams are the ones that end up in the Final Four. Whatever upsets you might have come in and break up your bracket,
I think.
it ends by now.
I mean, if you had to choose, what do you think the toughest region is? Like where? I'm saying
Where could it go
toughest-
wrong? Where could it go wrong?
Well, where could it go wrong? Yes, but then okay. So yeah, let's go. Where could it go wrong the most? What do you think out of the regions?
I think this region's all sorts of weird right here. I could see
Yeah.
all sorts of things happening with Miami here, or Drake, or Kent State, Xavier, Texas, Penn State. I don't know, Houston winning or losing. This one scares me the most coming out of here.
I think the toughest path for sure is Kansas.
Yeah.
They have as a 1 seed, they have to beat Arkansas. Well, I mean Howard, yes, Arkansas, then UConn, then Gonzaga, and then
Toughest
whoever
one.
comes out of there
Right,
is going to be.
Yeah. Where it could go wrong here, but yeah, toughest
Toughest
side of
road.
the bracket.
It's got to be.
I think the easiest road's coming out of here. I think that's why we got the 5 seed coming out of that one.
Yeah. I agree.
But
This
yeah,
this will be this is a pretty just fundamental basketball bracket I feel. Besides Bama,
unless
Bama.
NC State makes a run. They're capable of it. They're capable of it.
They're capable.
They can mess things up over on that
I
side.
wish they were.
Which
more
I would love to see them mess things up. I'd take my bracket being wrong
Oh, I
off
would
that.
love it. Yeah. That's why if you're a state fan, you got to take state losing because then you can have
Happy
your
either
bracket
way.
correct, but
Yeah.
then you can also be happy that state's winning.
Yeah.
So got to take Creighton. Next, Arizona Duke. Actually, let's go to that side first. We already know we picked who we thought was going to win there. This was the one we were discussing. We know we're going to take Texas there. We don't Kansas to win back to back is tough to do. It doesn't happen very often.
And I think that's simply enough reason to choose Texas here. They're both really strong teams, but yeah, when do you see a team come win back to back? I mean, maybe they could get there, but I don't know. We're really big on the Longhorns here at losing.
I guess I don't need that marker since we're going Arizona.
We're going with Zona.
We think Zona's a tough team. We think this is going to be their year to make it to the Natty.
And Duke's gonna make it there, but this is I think where their run's gonna end. Young team, I just don't know if they're gonna be able to get it done under that big of a stage.
So there you go, right there. That's two teams from last year's Final Four in the Final Four once again. As we know, Duke.
Wait, where's UNC at?
Let's not talk about that. Didn't they make the NIT? Oh wait. No.
Oh no, they
They're
declined.
not. They're not at it.
That's two below them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, your national champion. Once again, statistics don't lie. Arizona, west of that line.
Why don't you go
Texas
ahead and take the blue pill,
was not.
Mr. Keanu Reeves.
So, your national champion.
I didn't get that.
Oh.
Could you try again?
Is that bad luck or good luck?
I don't know. Siri's saying we should take that back.
Interesting question.
She's going crazy.
Your national champion, Texas Longhorns.
What was that? Was it that?
I don't even know what it is.
I think that makes
No,
more
that's
sense, right?
I think that's Tar Heels.
Oh man, we don't want to be
The
doing all
Rams.
that. We don't want to be doing all that.
I don't know. Whatever. Texas, Hook'em, national champion. C2 Sports Podcast Bracketology. It was great being here with y'all. Everybody
out.
have a good night.
Oh, we didn't hit record.